Legendary BHOP hating on fellow American Errol Spence Jr. He says he is highly suspicious of Errol Spence's torn retina, eye injury, damage to his eye, which forced him out of the Pacquiao fight. We'll talk about that in this video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Do me a solid. It's not really for me. It's really for other potential spectators that want to see the video. Throw a like on the video. You guys don't understand how such a free move, a quick move, is pertinent and important for others when it comes to discoverability of these videos. So other people could be looking for this content. Throw a like on the video so it helps that out, and subscribe, all that good stuff. Now, I wanted to make this video for y'all. Bernard Hopkins, Philly legend, boxing legend, he did a recent interview and he talked about Errol Spence. Errol Spence, as we know, is injured and was forced to withdraw from the Pacquiao fight. He was disappointed. I made videos about it. This is why you guys got to click on my channel and follow to be up to date with the latest and greatest. I go over everything. So in each video, a lot of times I'm not going to go over everything that I've already covered. That's why it's up to you as a viewer to subscribe if you like the content and you like the style, to stay informed. But I will quickly kind of recap. And Spence pulled out. Ugas, or Dennis Ugas of Cuba, is now fighting against Manny Pacquiao. I want to That's the fight we have on Fox pay-per-view still. And Errol Spence, we wish him a speedy recovery. Meanwhile, Errol Spence is being hated on, in my opinion, by Bernard Hopkins. Let's get to the actual factuals.
Only thing I can do is listen what you said to me and listen what I've heard. But that's conversation, and that's what they said happened. I mean, I don't know if it's true or not true. I like Spence. I respect Spence.
The opening sentence is already off-putting from BHOP. He just said, all I could do is listen to what you're telling me, and that's what they're saying happened to Errol Spence. But I don't know. I don't know that to be the case. That's basically what he's saying. Ironically enough, he's a Golden Boy employee, and there's a Golden Boy fighter named Ryan Garcia who pulled out for a less common, we'll use that, a less common reasoning and rationale for pulling out of fights. His world was topsy-turvy, and he had mental health issues and anxiety because he had girl problems or whatever. And those problems, after the Javier Fortuna fight was announced 1 week later, those mental health anxiety issues crept up on Ryan Garcia and amounted so much to the point where Ryan Garcia felt he was no longer fit to fight this dangerous Javier Fortuna, and he left it to Joseph Jojo Diaz Jr. to move up in weight because he wasn't of that lightweight division at the time. He was at 130. So he moves up, and BHOP is insinuating that Errol Spence injury pullout, right, is suspect, but we've never heard Bernard Hopkins do an interview where he criticized or said anything about Ryan Garcia or had doubts that Ryan Garcia, so to me, that's already I already got to take what you say with a grain of salt, because we differ in opinion so much, so where you're already on a tightrope with me, you know what I'm saying? Because if you're not going to look at the Ryan Garcia fight and have any of this same commentary for that pullout reason, but then when a man says he's injured, you're this new conspiracy theorist and skeptic, which we've seen from old media, you know, that's a little bit odd. So let's keep going. And it's funny when people say, I like this person, and oh, not to be rude. Anytime somebody says, hey, not to be rude, Ego, then they say something rude. So to me, that's all filth, flarn, and filth and filler when he's like, oh, I like Spence. So you like him so much that even though he's really giving you no reason to not trust his word, you're creating doubt, especially amongst old media. That's the only people who are really buying it regarding his eye, as if he pulled out because of some other reason. So this interview is very short, but it's full of contradictions. He says he respects Spence, but he's doubting Spence. You know, he says Spence is always ready, but now he's saying that something else happened and, you know, speculating that he wasn't.
But I just think, I just have some suspicions about this whole thing, to be honest with you. Because I just think that the way it manifests and came out suddenly real fast and no one knew it before is to me just, and I've been around a long time,
and he goes over
and I understand
in the interview where he says the way it manifests and came out suddenly. I mean, what is it supposed to do? Like, if you get an eye injury, what are you supposed to have a premonition before the actual injury? Or not even an eye, any injury. Like, that's like Paul Williams. I remember he was scheduled to fight Canelo way back when. Some of you guys weren't boxing fans then, but I was. So Paul Williams was scheduled, and he gets in this horrific motorcycle accident and is now confined to a chair. That happened suddenly. We thought we were going to get Paul Williams versus Canelo. Canelo was like, he hadn't fought none of the big names that he's fought to this date. And out of nowhere, that happened. So, I mean, when do you expect injuries or accidents to happen? Were you supposed to be Miss Cleo and you're supposed to announce it, or there's supposed to be that an injury can happen at any given moment. An accident can happen at any given moment. So he's saying it came out, and he repeats this later in the interview. I mean, at what point are you supposed to know about an injury? As soon as it's recognized, some people have certain underlying conditions and they don't know. There's this rapper out here from where I'm at in the Bay, and he had type 1 diabetes, and he had to go to the emergency room, right? And he didn't even know he had diabetes, but he knew his body was giving him warning signs that something wasn't good. He just didn't know what it was. You know what I mean? So I really don't rock with or subscribe to what BHOP is saying, because it doesn't really make sense. If you're injured, you're injured, and it's gonna be radical or out of left field. And he keeps suggesting like, oh, Errol Spence, it came out of nowhere. I mean, it's an injury. What is it supposed to be scripted and planned? I mean, it's an injury.
It manifests and came out suddenly real fast and no one knew it before. It's to me just, and I've been around a long time, and I understand certain things that's said because of other things. I'll just say stay tuned if you hear something else other than what everyone was given or was told. I think it's more to the story than what it is.
So now, see, and this is the thing that when I hear B-Hop, he's a legend. I definitely value his boxing career, but when I hear him talk, it's like he almost tries to sound smarter than the situation. Like, he's always trying to have this like profound, prolific type of breakdown, and he's like beating around the bush and he's hedging his bet. He's saying he don't trust Errol Spence and basically PBC and what was put out, but then he's saying, hey, but if it's true, or Errol's a reliable guy, but I don't trust what he's saying. You know, it's just like, it's all over the place for me. And then he's trying to use like big words and stuff and using them wrong. At one point in this, he says the word gullible wrong. He says guttable or something. And it just sounds all over the place to me.
But if it's true, I just wish him a speedy recovery, but I had to say that first because I want to be the first one that people say, well, what did I know that everybody else didn't know, or what did I know that few other people did know, but nobody was broke.
So now he's making it sound like he's like this big martyr and he's, you know, prophesizing the future and he wants credit for it. It's a weird interview, weird take.
Did know, but nobody was bold enough and brave enough to say it. And again, if it's the case, then I think we all should see it.
So the reporter's basically asking him, hey, what do you think, if it's not really truly his eye that's damaged, what do you think is going on?
Not the eye or...
It could be a lot of issues. It could be business. It could be it could be lack of.
So he said it could be lack of, but earlier in the interview, BHOP, when he first started hating, he says Errol Spence stays ready, he's always ready. So lack of what?
It could be a lot of things. I mean, the whole thing is right now is considered, this was been told, and most people probably will believe it. And most people will never even dare to question it or say, well, give me a little details of it. I'm the type person, if something happened to me, I'll show an x-ray to the world of boxing. Let them know, look, I'm ready to fight. I got an x-ray, look. It's a hairline fracture, or it's a straight cut through broken bone. Because, you know, when it's, and let me tell you something, a detached retina or a slight detached retina is no joke. You got to take that serious, and nobody will want to play and say they have something that they don't have. They're like somebody say they got cancer and they don't have it.
So now, like I said, he's hedging his bet. He's making it sound like he's some prophet, and he's prophesizing that more information will come, and he's highly suspicious that Errol Spence, there's more to this story that has a conspiracy theory. And then he's saying, hey, if you have a detached retina, you got to get that taken care of, because that's something that you don't want to play with. You know, if you have a detached retina, then that's serious business. No one wants to say they have it, and then he said that would be like saying you have cancer and you don't have it. Like, what is this man talking about then? It's like, do you believe him or don't you believe him? What is the whole purpose of this interview? That's why I didn't understand it.
I'm just saying, I'm always suspicious about things coming out of nowhere. And I know most people are gullible, and they would eat it and they would take it and they...
See, he said gutable. You're not even using the words right. Most people are gutable.
And they would eat it and they would take it and they would repeat it. Like, I don't repeat anything. I'm conscious of repeating anything that that I don't have more to it. And I got other questions, or I got other reasons to think different. And I'll say that, like I said, if it's the case, then I wish Errol Spence a speedy recovery. I think he's the future Hall of Famer.
Now he's saying it just happened out of nowhere. Again, when is an injury convenient for you? Like, this doesn't even make sense. Then he's saying people are guttable or whatever he said instead of the true word. And it just sounds all over the place. He says, I have suspicions, I have reasons to believe otherwise, but you're not really making that clear. What are your reasons to refute Errol? Especially earlier in the interview, you said that he was a stand-up, you like him, and he's a stand-up dude and stay ready. Now you're saying you don't believe what is being told.
Just been getting bad deals. If that's the case on that issue, if it's something else, then somebody else will reveal it. If not, then it will go away and hopefully they'll reschedule. But there's nothing to play with.
Been getting bad deals. I mean, Errol Spence, what bad deals? I guess the car accident? So yeah, that was Bernard Hopkins. Again, the whole conversation was all over the place. It's like he wanted you to RSVP for an injury. I don't know what it is about Errol Spence Jr., but Americans of yesteryear, great fighters, always go against Errol Spence. And I don't understand what he's doing wrong. Like Roy Jones said, oh, Errol Spence ain't really fought nobody. Like he said stuff. I was with him at one time. It was at the Charlo fight, right? So Roy Jones kind of picked on Errol, a fellow Olympian, just like he. Bernard Hopkins saying he's suspicious. I remember Sugar Ray Leonard picked Mikey Garcia to beat Errol, and Errol whooped his ass. And Mikey was talking about, I see something, and they asked Sugar Ray Leonard, like, why are you picking Mikey over Errol? And he's like, because it's Mikey. It's crazy. I don't know what this young black brother has done, Errol Spence, but there's constantly other black pioneers in the sport, like the three I just mentioned, Roy, B-Hop, Bernard, and then Sugar Ray Leonard. And it's like they go against the grain on Errol for whatever reason. And for me, it's ironic because guys like Tyson Fury get a pass, and he constantly does this behavior. He's failing drug tests multiple times. He's constantly doing weird and erratic things, but we're supposed to doubt Errol Spence, who got a freak accident. Like, Errol didn't want to get the massive paycheck and also get the opportunity to face a Hall of Famer, which may or may not come back around. You know, I don't understand why people are being so harsh on Errol Spence. That's my opinion. I disagree with virtually everything BHOP said. He was all over the place. That's my thoughts. A lot of people sent me this clip and they wanted me to kind of further break it down. That's my breakdown. BHOP, it just seems like he's going against the grain and trying to create and fuel these old media conspiracy theories. But again, when you say something about Tyson Fury, whose glove literally looks like it's used and worn and tattered, everyone remains quiet. That's why Wilder said, everybody did this, everybody did this, everybody did this. But then when it comes to Errol, who's given us really no reason to doubt that he's a warrior, Derek James, you know, no reason to doubt that they're a lying team. But then the same people conveniently trust Tyson Fury. Or when Teofimo says he has the Rona, he's trusted, despite all the erratic things that have come out from him and his dad. Like Teofimo, we got J-Lo, and we'll sell 2 million pay-per-views and this, that, and the third, and all the things Tyson Fury and Ryan Garcia, a Golden Boy fighter. You're listening to a Golden Boy representative, and he's reaming the PBC. So to me, Bernard Hopkins has ulterior motives. You're not aligned with PBC. They're looked at as the ops. So you're just trying to, you know, create this dissonance and disbelief in what Errol Spence is saying. Because you certainly didn't do this to Ryan Garcia, as I mentioned. Boom. That's how you get her done. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Share the video, like the video. And I'm out.